Hello, my beautiful students from the third semester. Those who cannot make it to the class, fortunately, most of you can come to the class and I can have face-to-face classes with you. Right now, no one is here, and I just want to say hello to you guys without the mask. I have to wear the mask when everyone is here. This is the first video that I'm trying to make with the help of my beautiful friend Miho, who's filming me, and I'm doing my best to produce something useful for you people who are at home and cannot join the class. In this class, I'm going to talk about the first class of third semester. I'm going to talk about the third semester at Capilano U animation program. In general, you know, the third semester is the heaviest semester in terms of workload. It's a lot of work. Then you should try to be ahead of your assignments and homeworks and don't get behind. It's hard to catch up later. It's the most essential semester in the whole program. It is so also in life drawing, and it's very important semester in our course when we talk about life drawing, because in this semester you learn how to draw from your imagination and basically you become one of the gods. You know, as I told you before, we are pagan, we have many gods, and you can become one of our gods as well. And by becoming God, I mean you can draw whatever you want. You're so good at drawing that you can put everything you imagine on paper with ease, and this is what we need for animation, drawing from imagination, because in animation you have to draw from your imagination all the time. You have a model sheet, you have a reference, but you have to create everything from your own imagination, from your head. Then this is the kind of drawing that we need for animation, and that's the focus of the third semester. I'm going to have more discussion when everyone is here, but the topics that I'm going to cover today is going through this concept more deeper. What is drawing from the imagination? What does it mean? Is it not a contradiction in terms? Because you always draw from your imagination. I will explain that when everybody is here. Also, why is good for animation? I am going to go through that in detail. Why drawing from imagination is good for animation. I'm going to talk about, you know, we did stuff in first semester and second semester to prepare ourselves to get here, and I'm going to mention those necessary steps that we took in the first and second semester, and I'm going to talk about what do we need for this semester, and what are our focuses. Anatomy, design, pushing the pose, copy or not copy, etc. These are topics that we're going to talk about, and I'm going to give them the first assignment in that direction, which is, I call it 90-degree drawing to the model, or 90-degree to the model. I will explain that. And I'm going to talk about the homework as well, but homework, I think you have to do at least 2 hours of drawing every time. And you know, if you're in class, you do 2 hours in class, you do 2 hours of homework. But when you're home, I think you have to do two hours. One to make up for the class that you're not here, and one for the homework. Draw from family member, draw from your pet, your dog, draw from pictures, from the internet. Keep drawing, but I will also talk more in details about specific assignment for this class, which is 90 degree to the model. I will explain it later. And let's see, when everyone is here, I will start the actual lesson for today. As I told you, this semester, I mean the third semester, the focus is drawing from imagination, drawing from head. And you might say, okay, this is our focus, but what do you mean by that? Drawing from imagination, we always have been drawing from imagination. Can you draw from somewhere else? In other words, you can say that this is a contradiction in terms, drawing from imagination. Is there any other drawing that you don't use imagination? Do you get my point? I mean, just if you remember, let me remind you quickly. First semester we talked about this. You know, you're sitting here, right, and you're drawing, right, like that. You remember that? And the model is here. Let's say this is the pose that the model makes for you. When you draw, you make an image in your head of that pose. Let's say that's the image, and you draw that image. You don't draw her or him. It's impossible to do that. You always draw your image, your imagination, what is in your head. Then when I say this semester the focus is drawing from imagination, what does it mean? What is the point here? Right? I think the point is, I mean, it's a term, but when you think about it, it's a wrong term in a way. But there are lots of wrong terms that you use, and we necessarily don't mean something wrong. But I think by drawing from imagination, drawing from head, we mean that you get so good, then when you make this image from the model, the image is very good, it's very accurate. Also, you get so good that without trying to copy each part of the body, when you see that pose, you can create an image that you can keep drawing without necessarily referring to the model all the time. That's another interesting topic that we talk about copying or not copying. For example, Wilbo talks about don't copy. And he's right, don't copy. But even if you want to copy, it's impossible to copy exactly what is there. Everything goes through your imagination, everything go through your head, and you are seeing the world through your own eyes, through your interpretation of your brain, of the reality. Then even if you want to copy, you cannot copy. If you remember, I told you even a camera cannot copy exactly what is there. I mean, depending on the lens and the quality of the lens, you get different pictures of reality. Reality is outside of our head, outside of our brain, outside of our imagination. What we see is our imagination, our makeup of what is outside. And then when you say this third, the focus is drawing from the imagination, means that you have worked on your imagination, and you have improved in picturing, in making the image of reality, and in this case is the model, that picture or that image that you're making is very good, is very accurate, and you are able to draw well. You can put that on paper. Also, you have learned how to put that on paper, and the result is very good. It's not you're not so much dependent on the model. You're not so much dependent on the reference that you need. Still, you need a reference. Even the best artists needed a reference. We have talked about this before. Look at, for example, who do you want to talk about? Look at Michelangelo. And every commission he has, he asks the model to take the same pose for the same character, same pose in his commission, and he needs to consult reality. He needs inspiration from the model. But also, for example, in case of Michelangelo, he could draw very close to what he wanted to be on the final work, but at the same time, he preferred to have a model to suggest to him, oh, this is the kind of pose that I want, and he would draw that, and he would use all those drawings as his reference for drawing big paintings on the wall or whatever. Sketches, doing a lot of sketches to have a good reference. Then I want to say there is always back and forth between the reality, which is this, and our imagination, which is this. And in this back and forth, we can get better and better of producing the images in our head that are good and very, very, everyone when they look at them and say, oh, that's a good drawing, or so on. Then I just want to explain how the term drawing for imagination, when you think about it deeper, is kind of tricky. But I hope you get my point. In this semester, we are going to learn how to design the human form in your head. That's what we are going to do that. And as I said it before, we started this way before this semester. We started in first semester by learning the very basics of drawing. And especially we worked on that in the second semester when we were working on structure and anatomy. Anatomy is kind of the design of the body, and we learned a little bit at least about anatomy to be able to create better image in our head and draw better, right? Then the question is, in this semester, when we focus on drawing for imagination, what does it mean exactly? What are you going to do? I am going to give you assignments that you cannot copy directly the model. Different assignments, different tricks. You cannot copy directly the model, and you have to use your knowledge, your visual knowledge about the body to draw it. And finally, we get to a point that there is no model for you. You have to draw, you have to construct everything from your head. This is the direction that we're going to take in this semester. And different assignments that lead you to that point that you can draw everything from your head. Then what do you need for that? You need to know structure very well. Then you're going to talk about structure later. You need to know anatomy very well. You have to know all the bone structure and muscle structure and how they look in different positions. You need to know all that, and you need to learn how to apply all this. You have to develop a method of drawing that you can apply your knowledge, your visual knowledge in that drawing. These are steps that you're going to take, and I'm going to give you assignments how to do that. That doesn't mean that you don't need a model anymore. Again, even the best artists, the most accomplished artists, they need to be inspired by reality. The reality is always ahead of us. If you want to put it this way also, you can say that the actual reality is always more beautiful than what you think, and you get inspired. But also, when you get at this drawing from your imagination, you can go beyond reality and create something beautiful just by your imagination. You know, there is back and forth, and this process of back and forth between the reality and your power of your imagination is endless. You can go farther and farther. Is that clear what I'm trying to say? I mean the meaning of this semester. I'm trying to explain that. And there is no need to say that this is very, very useful for animation, because animation is all about that. It's all about creating things from your imagination. You have some reference to reality. In this case, the reality, for example, is the model sheet that you've got, the certain character that you have to draw. You have to follow their proportion. You have to draw, follow their manner of movement and everything. You know, the kind of thing. But nevertheless, you have to create them every time in your head. And then if you can do this, if you can do this process of creating from your head with the human form, then other characters are a lot easier. But then it's very obvious that this is what you need for animation, and I have talked about it before. And yeah, that's why we are focusing on this aspect of figure drawing. And I told you last class as well that this is when you become a god, because you can create, right? Okay, if that's clear, let's start the first assignment. The first assignment that I'm going to give you is 90 degrees to the model. Model is there, but you don't draw what you see. You imagine that you are sitting 90 degrees to model over there, and you're drawing her from that position. Or you can imagine, you can say, okay, I rotate the model 90 degrees, and then I draw. I don't draw what I see. Right? That's the task. For example, if you're sitting there and you're drawing the model, you imagine that you're sitting there and drawing the model. You're sitting there, but imagine you're sitting there and what you see from there. This simple assignment, which is not easy to do it, you'll see, forces you to use your knowledge. For example, if that's the pose that I see, and I'm supposed to not draw it from this position, but draw it from this position, going there and looking at there. Then what I see, for example, what I see for the line of shoulder, what I see for the, line of shoulder in this position is like that, line of hip is like that. If I go for the box, it's something like that, right? Then when I draw that from that position, it's quite different, right? And I have to get it right. I have to get the movement in the body right. It's quite challenging. And then when you get that, you have to use your knowledge of anatomy to draw that in 90 degrees. You see the arm from this position, right? But when you go there and look at it from 90 degrees, it's different. Then you have to know the arm and the muscle, or the torso, all the muscles. From this position, you don't see anything from back. But if you do 90 degrees, you have to imagine what the back is going to look like. The good thing is that you have a reference for your drawing. The pose that you're seeing from your position is a reference for you to draw a 90-degree version of that. Then you have the reference point. Is that clear, the assignment, what we want to do? And this is how we work. She's going to give us some 5-minute poses. She keeps doing 5 minutes. You do the pose from not what you see 90 degrees to the model. And if you're in doubt that you're way wrong and you want to consult with reality, you could go around and go to the point that you were supposed, your imaginary position, not real position, and see how the pose looked like from that position, just for a brief moment. And this is a bonus in the beginning, but later, when you get better, you don't need to move. But because of the COVID and the physical distancing, please follow that and respect that. If you think that's hard, then forget about this part of the assignment. This is kind of bonus, but the assignment is that you start learning how not to draw what you see, but draw what you build up into your imagination. Clear? Okay, then let's do that here. And just for those people who are at home and they're not here, they can do the same thing with pictures. You have a picture, don't draw the picture the way you see it. Rotate it 90 degrees in your head and draw that. You can do the same thing with the picture at home. No question? Should we start? Okay, then please. Okay, now you have done some 90 degree to the model drawing, 90 degree to the model drawing. I don't know how to say it in English, sorry. What do you think of that assignment? Be honest. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. What do you think? It's the worst. No one is nice to this assignment.
It's okay.
It's okay. Okay. What do you think? It's
hard.
It's hard. I agree. It's hard. What about you?
It's kind of fun. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird, but like.
Yeah, it is fun. If you start enjoying it, it's challenging. It's very challenging, right? What do you think? So. And you, please.
It's a new experience.
It's a new experience. I agree. I agree.
It's tricky. It's tricky. I feel like 5 minutes is a short time.
Yeah, for 5 minutes tricky. I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Very. How do you feel now about your drawing?
I think I need to keep flipping. I should probably.
You need to keep working. That's
Yeah.
what's, yeah, of course, of course. No surprise. This is the reaction to this assignment every time I do it, and it's not easy to do it. And today I'm not gonna talk about how to do it. I want you to have the experience a little bit, but next week we are going to go through it in detail, how to do it. I want you to be challenged before I say, oh, this is how you do it. Not that what I'm going to say is going to solve all the problems, but it's going to give you a pattern of approaching this problem. But today I want you to challenge yourself. That's one thing. I mean, next hour we're going to do again 90 degree, but it's going to be optional. It's not mandatory. You have the option. If you don't want to do the 90 degree, just do your normal drawing and enjoy yourself. That's number one. Number two, the point is not to do the 90 degree. The point is the method that you do the 90 degree. That method is important for us. We are not, this class and next class we're going to do the 90 degree, and that's it. We're not going to do 90 degree again. The reason that I'm suggesting that assignment is to draw your attention to the method of drawing, how you build up your drawing. The way that you build up the 90 degree, that's the way we should be drawing from now on. This what we're going to learn also next class. Then, again, I repeat myself, for second hour of our class, the 90 degree is not, it's optional if you want to do it or not. Second point is that the method of drawing is important. You might draw just normal drawing, not 90 degree, but with the same method that you do the 90 degree. What is the method of that I'm talking about? Is that you don't copy. You build up everything in your head and you draw and you use the model as your reference. This method I'm going to talk about next week in detail. Is that clear? Then these are 5-minute poses. Relax, casual. You want to do 90 degree, do it. You want to check yourself, you can go check yourself. You want to do your normal drawing, do it. But I hope that this 90 degree woke you up a little bit, that, oh, I have to do some more work. And that's a good sign to me. We are going to do that. Okay? How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Very.
Sit here.